This video is going to be very much important if you're preparing for JIIB 2025 because we have already covered many concepts, important concepts for the accounting and financial management for the bankers. But in this video, you're going to learn a concept which will fetch you at least 5 marks in the exam. So stay tuned till the end of the video, and if you want to get all the videos, do subscribe to the channel right now and press the bell notification icon so that you get updated whenever we upload the new videos. So let's just uh, move toward the session, and it's related to the banker reconciliation statement. In short, we say this to be the BRS, that is a banker reconciliation statement. And more importantly, I'll be telling you all the basics related to it, and also I'll be telling you related to a very and important short trick so as to solve the numerical questions related to the banker reconciliation statement, that you'll be able to solve each and every numerical of it without going through the lengthy steps. Okay, so now let's first of all focus on the basic, because the theoretical questions can also be asked from this particular topic. Now, why BRS is to be done? First of all, let's know that thing, but before that, let's know that what is BRS. So BRS, that is a banker reconciliation statement, is a particular statement. As the name says, it's a statement which is prepared so as to reconcile the differences between the balances of the cash book as per the firm and further the passbook on a particular given date. Now, let's guess you are a firm ABC and you're having a current account in the bank XYZ, right? Now you'll be maintaining a cash book with you, right? And in cash book you are having a bank column which is indicating the bank balance, right? And it may be the case that you are having the balance or deposits lying in the current account, or it may be the case that you are having a overdraft over there. Both the scenarios can be there. Now, there are many scenarios when the entry is being passed at your end but is not showcasing it in the bank balance right now. Like you have issued a check to some party of yours, but still the check has not been presented at the bank. It may be the scenario, or it may be related to the case that the bank may have deducted some charges, or let's take the case that you basically have deposited a check in the bank but the check is yet not cleared, right? So in both the scenarios, in all the scenarios, there may be a difference lying between the balances between the bank column of the cash book and the passbook, right? So whenever I say passbook or statement, it is one and everything, one and the same thing, because it may be the case the bank account statement is with you or the passbook is with you, right? So it's not compulsory so as to prepare the BRS, and it's not related to that it is to be prepared on a fixed date. We can do the banker reconciliation statement as per our convenience, but definitely BRS is being done on a periodic basis so as to check that if there is any difference between the balances, like between the cash book. So whenever I'm referring to cash book, it means I'm referring to the bank column in the cash book, right? So that there may be difference between the cash book and the passbook, right? So that may be the case. So BRS is to be prepared on a periodic basis at our own convenience, and it actually helps us so as to detect if there is any error or any discrepancy between the balances, right? Now, what may be the causes for cash book and passbook differences? What may be the different reasons that the particular agreement is not there between the cash book and the passbook? Cash book, I'm saying it again, I'm referring toward the bank column of the cash book. Okay, so first of all, it may be the case due to the check issued check issued by the firm. As I told you, that let's say case firm ABC has issued a check. You have given the check to XYZ, but XYZ has not presented this check in the bank right now. So you may have reflected the changes in your cash book on the same day basis, on immediately basis, but the difference, the check is not deducted from your bank account right now, right? So there may be difference. Let's suppose a case that the previous balance in your cash book was 50,000, right? 50,000 debit, it means it's a current account. So whenever there is a debit balance in the cash book, it is indicating that you are having a current account in the bank, right? You are having the surplus balance in the bank, right? And on the other hand, in the passbook, it will be showcasing as 50,000 credit, right? So it means that the bank is having the liability so as to pay you back 50,000 rupees. But now you issued a check amounting rupees 5,000 to a customer of yours, right? Now the balance would be 45,000 debit, the updated balance. But right now the check has not been presented in the bank, so the balance in the bank account is still 50,000 credit. So there is difference of 5,000, right? That is the first case. The another one, it could be related to the check deposited, that you have deposited the check in the bank, but still the check has not been collected. Or it may be the case that the check was collected but it was mistakenly credited to some other account, not your account. Or it may also be the case that you deposited the check amounting 20,000 but you were given inadvertently, mistakenly, the credit of just rupees 2,000 because there was some clerical error at the bank end, right? So these cases may also be there. And also the third scenario, it may be related to that the bank has deducted some charges. Let's say case there was some outstation check or ATM charges or any other charges which were deducted from your account and you're not aware of it. So those charges are not reflecting in your cash book but are reflecting on your passbook. So there may be a difference between the same, right? And it may also be the case that you have been charged interest on the overdraft. So you were having a overdraft account. So whenever you will be having an overdraft account in your cash book, you'll be having a credit balance, and your in your passbook, you'll be having a debit balance when we are talking about a overdraft account. In that scenario, the balances do uh, basically do get reversed, right? So we'll be learning the concept over there also. So that may be the case. And it may be the case that the direct payments have been made into the bank by the trader's customer. Let's say case one of your customer deposit the money directly into the bank account. Now definitely you have not recorded that particular entry in your cash book, so that may be the difference. Or it may be the case that you have deposited some check in the bank and that was dishonored. Or it may be the case that you have issued a check to some customer and that was dishonored. Now that may also be leading to some differences, right? So there are multiple reasons that your cash book balance may not be agreeing with the passbook balance, right? Now let's understand this particular table, this particular matrix. This is very much important, kindly pay attention to what it. So on one side we are having the cash book, on the other side we are having the passbook or the bank statement, one and the same thing. Now, when the balance in the account will be having a debit balance, when the cash book will be having a debit balance. So, whensoever the cash book is having the debit balance, it means you are having a current account, you are having some surplus funds lying in the current account. So, if I say I'm having 50,000 debit in the cash book, it means what? It means I'm having surplus of amount of 50,000 in the my bank account from where I can get the money, right? And definitely that is my money which is lying in the bank, right? And when I say the debit balance in the passbook, it means I'm having some liability. Having some liability, right? So it means I have taken some loan from the bank, right? So it is 50,000 debit balance in the bank. It means it's an overdraft case. So in the case of the passbook, it's a overdraft case, and in the case of the cash book, it's a current account case, right? On the other hand, if it's a credit balance in the cash book, it showcases that you're having an overdraft balance with the bank account. And if it's a credit balance for the passbook, it means that you're having a current account with the banker over there, right? So that is a scenario. So both the cash book and the passbooks are having the opposite balances. And there is a golden rule for the banker reconciliation statement. The golden rule is that we are to start from one of the balances and then we try to discover the balance of the other book, right? So that is a golden rule. That is a theory that we will be working upon. And this is how we are going to solve the question, right? Now let's learn about the transaction nature. But before that, let me repeat the things for you, that whensoever we are having the debit balance in the cash book, it means a current account. When we are having the debit balance in the passbook, it means a overdraft. And when there is a credit balance in the cash book, it's a overdraft. And when it's a credit balance in the passbook, it's a current account, right? Now let's learn the transaction nature. Now when I'm talking about the transaction nature, when I'll be covering one point, you'll be learning that, right? So debit the bank account in cash book by the firm, right? So it may be the case that we have debited the bank account in the cash book, or simply I am just saying that we have debited the cash book. So when we will be debiting the cash book, when we will be depositing some amount in the current account. Let's say case that I deposited a 20,000 amount rupees check. 20,000 rupees amount check was deposited in the bank. It means what? I'll be doing what? I'll be adding a 20,000 debit in the cash book. Because when I'm depositing money, only then it will be increasing. And when I'm to increase the money, then in the cash book, I'll be debiting the balance. And when I'm to increase the money in the passbook, I'll be crediting the balance. That is a first transaction, right? And the other transaction could be related to credit the bank account in the cash book. When I'll be crediting the cash book account, when I am to deduct the amount. Let's say case I have issued a check to some party. I have issued some check to the party, or the owner has withdrawn the money. It may also be the case, na? Owner withdrawn the money. A payment was made from the account, right? Or simply we can say a payment was made from the account. That will also be leading to what? That we are to credit the cash book. That we are to credit the cash book. And debit the passbook means what? That we are debiting the balances. We are debiting the balances from the account over there. When we are going to debit the passbook, when we will be debiting the balance from the bank, we are basically deducting the balance from the bank. It may be the case some incidental charges have been debited. It may be the case that your check has been honored, right? It may be the case some standing instruction has been, particular charges have been debited, right? That may be the scenario when the passbook will be debited. And the fourth scenario, when the passbook will be credited, when the amount has been credited or deposited into the bank, right? Direct deposit in the bank account or checks has been honored, right? Then the passbook account will be credited, right? So these are the nature of the transactions. So either the cash book or the passbook accounts can be debited or the credited. Based upon that, we are having the transaction nature, right? Now here it's a sample format for the banker reconciliation statement. So we'll be mentioning BRS on the top of the line, and we'll be mentioning the date over there. On the very left side, we are having the particulars, and then we are having the plus and minus columns. That's it, right? So it would be like the check deposited. I say check deposited, check amounting 2,000 deposited, right? And I started from the balance. Which balance? Let's say I started from the cash book balance, right? So I'm having the cash book balance on the very top, and I'm basically leading toward the passbook balance. As I told you, the golden rule. Let's say we are going to start with the cash book balance, and the cash book balance was 20,000 debit, right? 20,000 debit. This is the cash book balance, and I'm to find out the passbook balance, right? There are few entries. Let's say one entry, it's related to check amounting rupees 2,000 was deposited, and let's say check of 10,000 was issued, right? And third entry, that the direct debit of rupees 20, direct debit of rupees 20 was there, right? Now in that scenario, the cash book balance is given to me. Now I know the balance is what? The balance is 20,000 debit. And when the balance of cash book will be in debit, when will be having the debit balance of cash book? When it's a current account. So I know it's a current account right now. Okay. And further, check amounting rupees 2,000 deposited. Now it has been deposited. It means what? That we are to particularly increase the balance or decrease the balance. We are to find out the passbook balance. Try to concentrate. Now, the definitely when we have deposited the check, the particular balance we may have already indicated in the cash book, but definitely not have indicated in the passbook, right? So we'll be deducting it. So 2,000 deductions, it will be on the minus side, minus 2,000, right? Check 1,000 of rupees 1,000 was issued. Now you have issued the check, but it has not been honored so far, right? Now you have already deducted from the cash book, but in passbook it is not reflecting. So we'll be adding back rupees 1,000 over here. Now direct debits of rupees 20 have been made. Now when the direct debit was made, it must have reflected in your passbook, but not in the cash book. Not in the cash book. Now in that scenario, we are to increase it. We are to increase it because particularly when the debits were made, and further, those must have been reflecting in the passbook, right, but not in the cash book. So you may have not been deducted it from the cash book, so we are to deduct those charges, so it will be minus 20. So it will be minus 20. So this is how the changes do reflect. So it will be like 20,000 plus 1,000, that is 21,000, minus 2,000, that is equal to 19,000, and minus 20, that is 18,980. So the passbook balance is 18,980, right? So this is how we are to solve the questions, right? So it is very much logical, at the same time very much easy to calculate, but still you can make some mistakes in solving the questions. So we'll be learning a very important shortcut, right? Now the shortcut is mentioned over here, but before going through that, we'll be solving one question. So it says bank head balance shown by cash book. Bank head balance shown by cash book is 10,000. Check drawn of rupees 1,000 has not been presented. Check deposited into bank but not presented rupees 800. Service charges of 300 debited for incidental charges. What will be the passbook balance as passbook balance, right? So this is the scenario. Now we are going to start with the cash book, right? And the cash book balance is given to be 10,000, right? And bank head balance is showcasing 10,000, and when it is not saying it's debit or credit, will be assuming it's a debit balance. It means that it's a current account, and not an overdraft, right? Now the first case, the check drawn of rupees 1,000 but not presented, means that you have issued a check. Check drawn means that you have issued a check but it is not presented yet, right? So what does it mean? It means when we'll be issuing the check, we may have deducted the check from our cash book, but the passbook balance has not been deducted. So the passbook balance must be upcasting, right? So it will be having a higher balance. So the passbook must be having a 1,000 higher balance. So it will be like adding rupees 1,000 to it. So it's the first scenario. The other one, it says check deposited into bank but not presented, that you have deposited a check, that you have already reflected the changes, that 800 you have received, but the check is not still honored, right? So your cash book balance is higher than your passbook balance, but we are to reach to the passbook balance, so we'll be deducting rupees 800 here, so it will be minus 800 here. Now the third scenario, it says service charges of rupees 300 have been debited. Now the service charges is basically related to what? It's related to direct debit. So when we are talking about the direct debit, those must have been reflected in your passbook, but not in the cash book. So our cash book balance is basically higher, right now from the passbook balance. So we have to deduct rupees 300 from the cash book balance so as to get the passbook balance, right? So this will be the case, and we can easily be getting the answer over here. So it will be 10,000 plus 1,000, that is 11,000, and 11,000 minus 1100, that is 9,900. So the answer will be 9,900 here. Is that clear? Kindly please confirm. But what if I just tell you that even for solving such questions, you need not to worry about all the things. Just memorize this table, right? And for memorizing this table, you need to memorize like C, D, C, I, D, D, and DC. Now CD is actually for the check deposited but dishonored or something like that. CI is for check issued but not presented or dishonored. DD is for direct debits, and DC is for the direct credits. Now here we have in the cash book, first of all, first two columns are relating to the cash book and the other two columns are related to the passbook over here. And we'll be starting with the minus sign, right? So minus plus and then mirror image of the same. So it is minus plus and alternate signs, plus minus and minus plus minus. Then the mirror image of this. So here we are going to draw the mirror image of the signs. So it will be plus minus minus plus minus plus minus plus, right? That this is the table that you need to memorize. Now how I'll be solving the question. So here in the question we are provided with the cash book balance, and cash book is basically showcasing the current account over here, right? So we'll be starting with the first column from this column only, right? So here first it says that check drawn of rupees 1000. Check drawn. It's a case of check drawn but not presented. It means that you have issued the check but not presented. So we'll be looking for the CI column. What is the sign? It's a plus sign. So we'll be adding 1000. Second, it says check deposited. Check deposited is the first case, CD, right? And there is minus sign. So it is minus 800, right? And further, it's related to direct debit. That is the third place, third column, third row over here. So it's a minus sign. So minus 300. That's it. This easily how you can be solving the questions. Okay. Now let's move to the another question, and we'll be solving it using this pure trick. Okay. So first of all, let me draw the table for you. So it will be the case of C, D, CI, DD and DC, right? First of all, we have in the case of cash book, and then the two columns related to passbook. Here we are having the case of current account and overdraft, current account and overdraft, right? So it will be starting with the minus sign. Kindly please memorize it. You have to start with the minus sign. Okay. So it will be minus, plus, plus, minus, minus, plus, plus, minus. Then mirror image of the same. Plus, minus, and minus, plus, and plus, minus, and minus, plus. Right? This is a table that you need to memorize. Now over here in the question we are given a check of rupees 540 was deposited with the bank was entered in the cash book. Bank paid a subscription of rupees 200. The balance in the passbook is 23,400. Now we are provided with the passbook balance of 23,400 and nothing is mentioned. It's a case of current account or overdraft. So we will be assuming it the case of the current account, this third column over here, right? Now let's come back to the first line of the question, that is a check of rupees 540 was deposited, right? 540 check deposited means the plus sign, so it will be plus 540, right? And the other it says the bank paid a subscription of rupees 200, right? Means you must have subscribed to some services of the bank. For that particular purpose the subscription was paid, means direct debit. So it's a plus sign again, so it will be plus 200 over here, right? And that would be it. So what will be the balance as per the cash book? The balance would be equal to 23,400. Let me just solve it for you. So it is 23,400 plus 540 plus 200, that is 24140. So it is 24140. That will be the balance. Okay. Now let's solve some other question based upon that. Now here some calculations are already done. Let's see if the calculations fit basically fits best for this or not. So we'll be drawing the table again. So the first two columns are for cash book, then the other two columns are for the passbook. So it's a current account overdraft, current account overdraft. And in the rows we are having CD, CI, direct debits and direct credits. We'll be starting with minus sign, minus, plus, plus, minus, plus. Right? This is the table that we have drawn so far. So we are having the balance in the cash book. So the cash book balance is given and they have not told that this is a current account or overdraft. So we'll be considering it the case of the current account, right? So the balance is given to be of 12,000. This is the cash book balance we are provided with. A check of rupees 1,000 deposited with the bank has been dishonored, right? So check deposited but dishonored. Check deposited means the first case, it is a minus sign. So minus 1,000, right? Then further bank has debited rupees 20. So it's a direct debit. So direct debit means third and it's minus sign again. So minus 20 over here. And we need to calculate the passbook balance, and passbook balance would be equal to 12,000 minus 1,000 minus 20. That is 10,980. That is the answer. So that will be the answer here. Is that clear? Now, even if we think of the question from the very basic perspective, even if we think about the question, let's basically try to crack it down at how it's working, right? So the balance of the cash book is given to be 12,000 over here. This is the cash book balance, right? And further, a check of rupees 1,000 deposited, that you have basically deposited the check but it has been dishonored, means that your cash book balance must be higher than the passbook balance, because it has been dishonored now and you have already recorded in the cash book, so it must be subtracted. So minus 1,000. Now the bank has debited the amount of rupees 20. It means a direct debit. The passbook must have been a lower balance, so the passbook balance is lower than the cash book balance, right? So we'll be doing what? We'll be subtracting it from the cash book balance itself, so it will be minus 20, right? So this is how it is working. Now let's solve another question based upon it. So it says the bank statement has been showing a balance of rupees 31200 overdraft. Now drawing the table again, it will just take a moment, right? So we are having the cash book balance columns and then passbook balance. Then it is a current account overdraft, right? And this is CD, CI, DD and DC. Okay, so it's starting with a minus sign. Now it is basically showcasing a balance of 31,200 balance, overdraft balance, and this is a bank statement, means we are talking about the passbook. So it's a passbook overdraft, right? So we are dealing with the fourth column over here now. Okay, so in the first case it says it is observed that the check issued by the firm has been dishonored. Check issued but dishonored means the second row we are talking about. So it's a plus sign over there. So 2,000 is to be added up, and further it says charges of 20 have been recovered, means direct debit, so it will be minus sign of 20 over here. That would be it. This is how easy it can be so as to solve the banker reconciliation statement question. So 31200 plus 2000 and minus 20, that is 33180. The answer is 33180 here. Okay, now let's try to solve this question manually without using the table, because for conceptual clarity it is very much required that you must be knowing the basics. So we are having the overdraft balance of the passbook, means a minus balance in the passbook amounting 31,200, right? Not minus, we can say it's a debit balance. It's a debit balance because when it's an overdraft in the passbook, it will be having the debit balance. Okay. Again, it says it is observed that check issued by the firm, that the firm has already issued the check. That firm has already subtracted the balance, right? Basically, the balance of the cash book means what? Must be more negative. The balance in the cash book must be more negative, right? That is the scenario, but it was dishonored. So we are to basically go for the cash book balance. So we are to add 2,000 to it. So we'll be adding 2,000 to it. And further, bank charges have been charged, right? Rupees 20 have been charged. So what would have happened? The passbook balance is basically much negative as compared to that of the cash book balance. So as to reach the cash book balance from the passbook balance, we have to reduce it by 20 again, right? So the same thing is going to happen and we are going to get the same answer. So this formula is foolproof. You just need to memorize the table, that's it. Now let's solve the another question. So again we'll be drawing the particular table CB and PB, current account and overdraft, CD, CI, direct debit and direct credit. That is it. Starting with minus sign. Just make sure this is a mirror image, right? That's it. Okay. Now starting with the balance in the current account of the firm at the bank. At the bank means we are provided the passbook balance, right? Passbook balance and the current account. That is a third column over here. Now it's showcasing a balance of 56219. This is the balance which is showcasing, and further it should be a debit balance or a credit balance. It will be a credit balance. Why? Because when it's a current account in the passbook, it's having a credit balance. It will be having a credit balance, right? So it's a passbook balance, that is 56219 credit, right? Now it is observed that the bank has credit a dividend. Now it is amounting to direct credit. So the direct credit is basically here. It will be a negative for it. So it will be minus 320, right? And otherwise it says, out of total checks of rupees 12,000 issued by the firm, check of 9,000 have been paid, right? It means the total checks of 12,000 were issued. Check issued amounting rupees 12,000, but 9,000 were paid, means check issued amounting rupees 3,000 were not paid. So check issued but dishonored, right? So it is a case of this particular second row over here, and it will be a minus sign again. So it will be minus 3,000, and that would be it, right? So what will be the answer? It is 56219 and minus 320 and minus 3000, that is 52899. 52899. So it will be a debit balance or credit balance? It will be a debit balance. Why? Because we just found the cash book current account balance. So this is cash book current account balance we calculated, right? So it may even be complex, because sometimes the options are given like 52899 debit, 52899 credit. Now you need to rethink that what it will be, debit or credit. Now just think of the thing that we are talking about the current account, right? And when we are talking about the current account in the cash book, it will be having a debit balance, right? So stick with the basics over there. So that will be all related to this video. I hope that you must have understood the concepts related to it and must have liked the video. So if you found this video useful, kindly please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and that is absolutely free. And if you want to get all the PDFs, just do save the number 8360944207 and WhatsApp us on the same number, writing saved for JAIIB, and we will be adding it to the update dates. So that will be all. Thank you so much and happy learning.